All right, guys, welcome in. Saturday night edition. Welcome back. Excuse me. Tons of news to get into. Had a big earthquake over in the Alaska area. Very shallow. We'll take a look at that. We got the biggest doomsday bunker being built in Kansas. In fact, here, I'll start out with that clip, and then we'll jump back in here just so I can try to get that out of the way. We'll see if this thing will go. Oh, and it's gone. Let's try this. It's like my broadcaster stops working every time. Give it a second here. Hopefully it will work.
What is described as the world's largest doomsday shelter is coming to Atchison, Kansas. With room for 5,000 if you're interested, its owner expects people to flock to the Kansas cave if that day should ever come. Zach Tecklenburg went underground to get a look inside.
Oh, underground.
If you have an RV, you could have a spot underground at the Vivos Survival Shelter and Resort. An old man-made cave just south of Atchison used to be storage for the government. Now it's turning into a temporary home for people willing to pay for advertised survival. From the outside, it's unassuming, but on the inside,
this is it. As soon as we pass the doors,
this dark limestone cave will soon turn into something nobody has ever seen before.
they're purchasing the entire west side.
More than 2 million square feet of underground space, turning into the world's largest doomsday shelter and resort. California company Vivos is behind the idea. Founder and CEO Robert Vecino says he's searched for a cave like this for 30 years, a place for people to survive after a doomsday disaster.
Perhaps an asteroid, perhaps something from space, or maybe it's just the heating up of terrorism or the nuclear event somewhere in the world.
The cave will have room for 5,000 people, sealed in by soon-to-be-installed blast-resistant doors and the natural limestone. Customers will buy a spot and bring an RV.
If you had a 25-foot RV, it's as little as $25,000, $1,000 a lineal foot.
With amenities like indoor golf, a music hall, swimming pool, and water slide, Vecino's $25 million renovation of this cave will turn it into a true resort. Members can visit anytime, and he expects up to 500 of them a week. In case of disaster, Vecino says people can survive for more than a year here. Vecino says he's not trying to scare people into spending their money.
If I wanted to capitalize on people's fears, we wouldn't be charging $1,000 a foot, we'd be charging $5,000 a foot.
Construction starts in late August, and the first space could be open as soon as...
All right. What about an earthquake? You think that's going to save you from a asteroid? I don't think so. We get hit by an asteroid, we're talking total devastation above and below ground. No hiding. That will be your last resting place in the underground. So I'm trying to figure out why we're not seeing the earthquake 3D. There it is. All right, so we've had a 6.3 appear in the Aleutian Island chains, which goes right along with the 6.2 down here. Shallow, both of them super shallow, and we'll get into this here in a little bit. So heads up for the west coast, you got magma pressure, or not magma pressure, but you got pressure on the move, and you can see the quiet zone between British Columbia and Southern California. So we might be able to see something pop off over here. We'll just have to check that out here in a little bit. Let me go through a few headlines so we can get into this stuff. All right, let me bring up the right browser. Now, right here I'm at the RAM slider. I wanted to show you this crazy spraying operation down in Australia. And you're going to see just how targeted this is. Now, here's the fire zones. Hopefully you guys can see these aerosols being deployed just one after another. This isn't rain retardant. They just keep hitting this area. And then out here off the coast, it looks like stitches in a baseball. And then just fires pop off. They're still spraying it. And boom, here comes the rain. That's just like clockwork, just like what's going on in Florida right now. We've seen the crazy spraying operation yesterday up here where we had the S turns and all the crazy spraying operations. And then when we look at the weather map here in a little bit, you're going to see where all the moisture went. It went right into these aerosol zones, following it like a train. Then you wonder why we get the train rains. It's because they're following the aerosols that are being deployed. All right, let's jump into the headlines. Forgot to clear my throat. Check this out. Excuse me there. 500,000 pounds of pork products recalled after an anonymous tip. A company is recalling more than 500,000 pounds of pork products because they were not inspected. This is crazy. 515,000 pounds of raw pork items were produced and distributed in Illinois. The U.S. Department of Agriculture Food Safety Inspection Service said Thursday that this meat was produced between November 25th, 2017, all the way up till November 9th this year. So we're looking at pork loins, pork back ribs, pork chops. And you can find the full list. I forgot to do the links in the description, so let me, I'm going to have to copy these as we go. So let me copy this. That way if you guys want to read into this. It's like every day is another recall or some kind of food catastrophe. Then we got this going on down in Florida. Deformed fish with tumors in the local water causes concern among the anglers. Now, Lake Okeechobee believes the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission aquatic spraying program is destroying the lake's vegetation and causing the fish to suffer from tumors. You know, this could be not only the Monsanto spraying and the aerosols being deployed from the skies. This could be all the stuff that's leaking out of the, you know, infrastructure of the nuclear facilities and other various power plants and stuff. So week after week, day after day, we're pulling out damaged fish with tumors and burn marks on their sides. Tumors on a fish is definitely unusual and something I have not seen before the last couple of months in these heavily sprayed areas. Officials say herbicide spraying is needed to control the spread of humans. No, the spread of non-native invasive plants. See, they're killing the vegetation along with the fish, just like the aerosols are doing up in the sky. Let me copy that link and close that down. We'll get back into the earthquakes here in a minute. Let me get through some of these articles here so that we can get these tabs closed down when we get into the more higher demand programs here. All right, so the FDA knew the bottled water was contaminated but never told the public. This came out yesterday or 2 days ago. The FDA inspectors have found some companies failed quality standards for bottled water. The agency didn't take significant action. The government's May 2018 report on Sweet Springs Valley Water Company out of West Virginia was alarming. An inspector from the FDA during the review of the Sweet Springs test records found that several months earlier the company had bottled and distributed water from a source contaminated with E. coli. Man, this is just getting nuts. So when you buy a bottle of water, you're thinking you're just getting water. You don't expect it to be carrying the different forms of poison here. Now, we've been talking about this for a long time. We know that they're wanting to build the high-speed rails, the bullet trains. We know they're going to go from the United States up through British Columbia, underneath the Bering Strait, over to China and Russia. So California cannot keep your power on in the wind, but they approve a $3.2 billion bond for the bullet train to Las Vegas to the train to nowhere. So they got, you know, a bullet train going to nowhere. The California Infrastructure Development iBank has authorized a $3.2 billion tax-exempt fixed-rate revenue bond insurance to help the Desert Express. Supposed to reach speeds up to 180 miles an hour, will take about 90 minutes one way. So there goes, instead of fixing the infrastructure, hey, let's just build some new. Let's wipe out some areas, take the land, and put in a train to nowhere. I'm trying to get the page that I put the links on here. Oh man, where'd they go? Oh, there they are. Okay. Yeah, I forgot about the links, doing the links. So we go ahead and close that one down. Well, if that isn't bad enough for you there on the West Coast, how about toll lanes could become reality on I-80 in Sacramento? Not only is your gas prices skyrocketed higher than any other place, and your light bills go up, 30-40%, even though it's the electric company's fault. You're paying for the fires. You're paying to be thrown off your property. Now they're going to pay you to drive up the road. So this is going to add way more time on your drive times. Look at this E. coli outbreak, sickens 17 people in 8 states, including California. It's just crazy what everybody is letting them get away with over on the West Coast. I mean, it's going on everywhere, but I mean, it just seems so much worse out in California. And then if that's not bad enough, California is going to boost the pot taxes. Shocking, unsteady industry. California is increasing pot business taxes in the legal market, shocking the state's struggling marijuana companies. And they're talking about 50% higher taxes. So, I mean, they're just, they're trying to rob everybody, but yet you can't have your power on when the wind blows. It's just insane. Somebody out there needs to organize and stand up against this stuff. It's just nuts. So this come out of Yale, how airplane contrails are help make the planet warmer. New research shows that condensation trails from aircraft exhaust are playing a significant role in global warming. I've been called a conspiracy theorist for saying this for years. Experts are concerned that the efforts to change aviation design to reduce the CO2 emissions could actually create more contrails and raise daily temperatures even more. More confirmation for what we've been saying for years. White wispy trails across the blue sky on a sunny day are one of the few attractive features of air travel, but they have a darker side, especially at night. For the condensation trails produced by the exhaust from aircraft engines are creating an often invisible thermal blanket of cloud across the planet. Lasting for only a short time, these contrails have a daily impact on the atmospheric temperatures that is greater than from the accumulated carbon emissions from all aircraft since the Wright brothers. I've been saying this for years. The chemtrails are worse this week than all of aviation history combined. Cirrus clouds are chemtrails. Contrail clouds trap heat radiating from the Earth's surface, causing warming in the air below. How come holy crap, look at that photo right there. Now that's a bombardment. So, we get called a conspiracy theorist for this. And here they are showing it, telling you that this is the climate change. But will any of these nutbags out here, like what's that one actor's name? Oh man, played in the Titanic. What's his name? I forgot his name. Wow, our stream's actually sucking right now. Why are we buffering? Well, I don't know why we're buffering, but hopefully it will clear out. And maybe I got too much stuff running. Let me look here. No, I don't have nothing running really. Hopefully it will clear out and straighten up here. Where was I? Oh. Anyway, let me copy this article here. Put that in our links. And then you guys can read the rest of this. I'm not going to waste any more time on this article because it's everything that we've been talking about. And then here you go. An asteroid alert. Scientists give exact date rock size of the Great Pyramid could hit Earth. This is all propaganda, scare tactics. An asteroid the size of the Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt is barreling towards Earth, and NASA has revealed the exact date it could strike our planet. It could, might, may. You know, whenever they use this terminology, they're making it up. So NASA released details of an asteroid known as JF1, John F. Kennedy, maybe, that is heading towards Earth. The rock, a whopping 420 feet across, is predicted to collide with the planet on May 6, 2022, with devastating consequences. The American Space Agency said that if the asteroid continued on its current trajectory, it could strike with a force of 230 kilotons. The impact would be more than 15 times larger than the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima. Scientists say if the JF1 were to hit a populated area, it'd wipe out an entire city instantly, potentially causing millions of deaths. But they warn, even if it were to splash down in the remotest part of the Pacific Ocean, it could still cause devastating tsunamis and a nuclear winter that could severely impact life on Earth. As a result, the asteroid has been flagged for close attention by the Near-Earth Monitoring System. Yeah. Somehow they will use this to come up with the money, you know, to say, hey, we gotta, you know, like the movie where they flew up and landed on the asteroid. I can't remember the name of that movie. Man, they're really screwing with the stream right now. Man, and our stream should be just flying right now, and it is just being buffered. So you know they're watching. We copy that. Alright, so we got more big one earthquake warning. Tension building on the West Coast. Fears grow for a magnitude 9 U.S. quake. Tension is building along the fault line on the U.S. West Coast, where experts from the U.S. Geological Survey fear a devastating magnitude 9 earthquake could strike. The Pacific Northwest sits on top of Cascadia subduction zone, and experts believe the fault could one day unleash a monstrous earthquake. They believe. The big one. See, this is all just scare. I mean, we know it could go off anytime, but, you know, how come they don't already have the data buoys out there? How come they don't have enough monitoring out there? If they're so worried about this, how come they haven't been doing something about it? I think they're trying to scare everybody off the coast so they can put the bullet train in. That's what it is. Let me copy this link. We already seen that. And let me post this in the thing. And then, you know, before the stream ends, I'll put these in there. So here we go with the fake sea level rise. Sea level rise has claimed 5 whole islands in the Pacific for scientific evidence. Are you sure? Sea level rise, erosion, coastal flooding are some of the greatest challenges facing humanity from climate change, climate control. Sea level rise and erosion is 2 different things. So is coastal flooding. So what they're saying, at least 5 reef islands in the remote Solomon Islands have been lost completely to sea level rise and coastal erosion. And a further 6 islands have been severely eroded. These islands lost to the sea range in size from 1 to 5 hectares. They supported a dense tropical vegetation that was at least 300 years old. Blah, blah, blah. How come we're only seeing sea level rise in these islands? How do you know the crust isn't shrinking or like sinking? You know, California's sinking. At least that's what they say. You know, if you go to the Denison area down in Australia, the sea level is actually lowered. So, don't even believe any of this stuff. If you're going to have sea level rise, and if water is the ultimate, leveling, then it would be all over. It wouldn't just be on these islands. This is all BS. It's just all to try to get you to believe into the climate change, just like the engineered weather. All right, what was this? So we had a rare Mississippi earthquake Wednesday night. Wasn't a very big one, 2.3. But this is linked to the New Madrid seismic zone. Really, the New Madrid, I don't think we even need to worry about the New Madrid going off. There's a New Madrid, and that's where they're doing all the fracking in Kansas and Oklahoma. They have weakened the crust. You know, all the pressure is releasing out in the west of here. So, they probably slowed down any big earthquake from happening out here because of the fracking. Then we had a terrified passengers film as plane bursts into flames, sparking a mid-air emergency. This happened on their way to Los Angeles from the Philippines. So it started puffing out some fire out of one of the engines. Wonder if this was a chemtrailer. Anyway, the plane had been forced to return to LA by an unidentified technical problem, and that it would not be flying for at least 3 days. I don't think I'd ever get back on that plane. So last night, let me bring this photo up so everybody can see. Last night we caught these crazy squiggly aerosols that were being deployed off the coast of Florida. Let's see if I can get that pulled back up here. Get it on the right layer. Right here. Look at all these crazy S-turns and question marks and who knows what all they were trying to spell up here. Little loop-de-loos. And so we had just some crazy aerosols. And somebody sent me something. And it's pretty crazy. This comes out of the Skywatch map. But almost exactly 1 year ago today, they got these photos in the same area. Like the exact same area. So it's like a ritual. So pretty crazy, man. So we had these last year at the very same time. Look at that, mucking up a perfectly blue sky with circles. You know, they also drew a penis in the sky down here. Thunderstorm asthma on the rise. This was actually back from 2017. Thunderstorm asthma, huh? It's a phenomenon. It's from the aerosols. You know, it's, when you see a bunch of chemtrail planes and it's flu season. It's not because of the cold. Could be from the vaccines, but mainly it's from the aerosols. They're getting us with molds and carbon fibers and all kinds of weird stuff. Oh, this is that white paper thing. What are we at? Okay, I think we're done with all that. So let's go ahead. Here's the earthquake that happened probably about an hour ago now. But let's look at it on the Google Earth, if I can get it on that scene without it freaking out. Might take it a minute to load. Hope everybody's having a good Saturday night. We never have like good news. We only have the bad news. Now I haven't seen Dutch put an earthquake video out in about 3 days, so we'll just check this out. So you always get the deep earthquakes out here, but did you see the bigger quakes? And they follow kind of a pattern. So we have seismic pressure around the 6.2 range, but these are shallow. You can see, if I can shrink this down a little bit, you can see by the rings that this is a really shallow quake. It's like probably close to the same depth as that 6.2. Well, this seismic pressure is headed for the west coast. And it looks like right now we just had a 2.8 up around in Alaska. So, you know, this, if you look at the, let's go ahead and go check out the, check it out where the fault lines are here. Let me try to get this back where I need it. And if it will change screens here. All right. Whoa. What happened? I zoomed too quick. All right, so either, you know, they're not reporting the quakes out here. I find it hard to believe that there's no earthquakes, you know, all the way down this line. Why won't it let me zoom in here? There we go. Just took a while to load. Now we're constantly seeing puffs of smoke coming out of the ocean out here. There's a bunch of underwater volcanoes down here. I'm trying to get zoomed in here to the fault line. So this seismic pressure should go some way down one of these faults, and then some of it will go up to the north. So this seismic pressure should be coming down. So you're still getting quite a few. You've got a 5.5 or a 3.3, 5.5 miles deep, a 3.2, 15 kilometers deep, and then a 2.6, it was 136 kilometers deep. So anyway, we got a lot of pressure coming in. You got a big earthquake down in here. I forgot to put that on. Let's see what we're on here. This is the last 1 day. Let's check out the last 7 days of 4.5 and graders, if it'll let me, and let that populate. Yeah, so we had a big one down here in Puerto Madero, Mexico, 5.4. I thought there was a 6. Yeah, there's another one down here, a 6.3. So the same size earthquake, 11 kilometers deep. Just went on the 20th, so a couple days ago. So you got 6.2 power coming in from both sides. Anyway, be looking for, you know, some 5s or 6 out here somewhere. If they report them, who knows? Anyway, let's go ahead. That's about all I can do on that. All right, so let me get this up to today. Hey, thanks there, Margie. You know, and this stuff, man, you can't fear all this crap they put out. Everything the mainstream puts out is fear porn, and we're just reporting the fear porn. But yeah, all you gotta do is armor up and then not even worry about this stuff. We'll take it day by day. So we got a mega spraying operation starting up. In fact, it's never stopped up here off the coast of Oregon in the earthquake zone. So what, you know, definitely spraying out here. California looks pretty clear. We'll check the fire maps. I mean, I'm not seeing no big puffs of smoke coming out here. Don't see no devastating fires. We could add on the fire layer real quick and see what we got. All right, so really it's showing, you know, a bunch of little spot fires here in California, but I'm really not seeing like mega smoke or no mega fires. Looks like in the Chico area there's a couple right there that's not even marked. I don't understand why these two areas we're looking at right here are not marked, but you definitely have two fires around the south of Chico area. Look, they're burning up Redding a little bit. This whole area is volcanic, so it's hard to know if they're intentional fires or volcanic. We got fires in Oregon, Idaho, and all over up in Canada. Looks like they're still hitting South Dakota, North Dakota. Oh, this is nuts. We already seen the Florida. We'll go on Florida in a minute, but check this out. This is nuts. So no bunker fuel operations over in the Pacific, but guess where they're at? This doesn't look like a normal cloud deck. This looks like a bunch of microwaves and frequencies hitting these clouds, but wait till I turn on the ship track layer. Look at all these ships headed towards the East Coast. Talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. At least 12 ships heading straight for the East Coast, right where the big waves are. Then there's a secondary operation up here going up to Iceland. It's not loading the whole. Like you can see this guy in the white. There's this bunker fuel trail coming from the ocean. A big X out here. But I mean, this is a mega bunker fuel operation out here in the Atlantic. All these long straight lines billowing up. We're talking the most toxic emissions on the planet are being deployed out here off the East Coast. This is going to mix in with that cloud layer and go right for the EU, right for the UK, right for Europe, Iceland, Greenland. So they're going to be getting a toxic soup here in a few days. Let's go ahead and check the waves. So you got these ships headed right into 20-foot waves, 17-foot. So pretty nuts that this must be pretty important if you're going to bring your ship into 17, 18-foot waves in the wind, in the storm. What are they preparing for? What are they doing? Yeah, we're going to take a look at Australia. In fact, I got this queued up for you guys. This is Southern Australia. And if this will load, it probably may not load. I was watching this aerosol campaign right in this area. You can see the aerosols being deployed out here off the coast, and then they just start gridding. This is like the only green left down in Australia. They done burn all the other trees down. But you can see they're just a mass spraying operation down here. Just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Look at that. Just keeps going back and forth. I mean, they're just spraying. That's not rain retardant. That's an aerosol program. You got a couple going into the different direction. And they just keep targeting the same area over and over and over. And then the fires actually start lighting up a little more. And they're still spraying. Fires are getting a little bigger. Let me back that up a frame. You start seeing them coming south. And now they're spraying up over here. So they're, look at the heavy aerosols. This is right in the smoke area. So they're spraying accelerants on the fire zones. Let me back this out a little bit. Looks like we got a bunch of frequencies, or I don't know what they're doing up there. Let me see if we can get this to load into the daytime. We got bunker fuel maybe being deployed south of Australia. I'll have to wait till this loads up a little bit. Yeah, that's the first thing they'll do is take away the communications. You know, you'll know when something's going down because we won't be able to communicate anymore. That's what that timer's for. We got 16 days, 51 minutes until they wipe away a bunch of YouTube channels. Probably this one included for sure. That's why you got to subscribe to all the backup channels, or at least save the link. And I don't know if it's going to load. Here, let me knock the frames down, and that should help. Common sense. That's all you need. So yeah, so we trying to see if there's anything going on up here in the north. Yeah, that's some funky looking stuff there. And where I showed you the other day, there is a ionospheric heater in that area. You can see all this fire smoke still going down to New Zealand. And that's getting, I don't know if that's past Guam. I can't even see Guam on here. Oh, I wanted to check the, let's go ahead and check the northern and southern hemisphere while we're here. Yeah, there was a 6.3 or 6.2 in Alaska. We just covered that a little bit ago. We got plasma in the sky. Up in the, look at that. The ships are driving right into that huge storm. Yeah, we're definitely getting some, we're still getting the plasma lightning. Look at that. What are they doing to the ionosphere up here? These are not auroras. This is the ionosphere getting displaced like a compression event. Take that back another frame here. This thing takes so much resources, it's really hard to get this to load. I got this set up on every, oh, that's every 306 minutes. So I really got that pretty spaced out too far. I can go like every 51 minutes and see what happens here. Yeah, so we're still having a compression event. Last night we talked about the polar vortex. Yeah, so there's some ionospheric heating. Look at that, man. That's crazy. In fact, let me see if the auroras are going on right now. So yeah, we're definitely getting some solar wind. The G1 class storm looks like. So that's part of what we're seeing. But also we see this when there is no solar wind or no kind of proton energy headed for us. And then we know they're using the ionospheric heating, or they're using the satellite based weapons to change the jet stream. Let me go down to the southern hemisphere. Look, yeah, we're definitely getting it here too. Let's see if I can get this one to play. Look at that storm spitting right over the Antarctica. There's some really good graphics of Antarctica right here. This is like the only satellite feed that we can get down here, and I've seen some crazy stuff. It's just, this thing just hogs the bandwidth and stuff, so it's really hard to sit here and mess with this too much. Gotta have like a quantum computer for this thing. All right, so let's go ahead and jump out of that. Let's finish looking at the aerosol. So you got the bunker fuel operations out here in the Atlantic. And then you got the cloud seeding up here in New York, getting hammered, Boston, Connecticut, by tomorrow, by tonight, New Hampshire, on up into Maine, up into Canada. Everybody's going to be sprayed out ahead of this storm. Let's go ahead and check the different layers. Yeah, everything on TV is just a shit show. It's just a joke. It's a soap opera. All you gotta do is look at the Illuminati cards and the Simpsons back in the 90s. They already knew they were gonna place Trump in there, and they even had a son named Barron and all that stuff, man. It's just crazy stuff. We are in the Matrix. Yeah, so big time aerosols, and then of course we got a heavy something going on there in Charleston. Let me see if I can get that cleared up. That went away pretty quick, but the big heavy spraying North Bahamas, Gulf of Mexico, and all over Florida. See, they're leading this storm, bringing it down south, bringing the cold in. I mean, this is just completely bombarded, waxed down here in the Bahamas. Look at that. It started out as a sunny day, and then the planes come through. The planes come through and wiped it out. I mean, look at this. Look how they destroyed the sky. Pretty sickening. So if you're on your vacation down in the Bahamas, you know it's been destroyed by a man-made Hurricane Dorian, which I couldn't even call it a hurricane because it was a man-made storm. And look at the spraying operations out here in the Gulf of Mexico, all over Florida, getting bombarded. Spraying in southern Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama. Let's just go look down here in South America. Now I know down in Argentina and Chile, they always get hammered with the aerosols, just like we do in the United States. You know, I'm going to play a clip here in a minute, and this guy got killed for saying what you're about to hear. So that's completely unnormal. Pulling the atmospheric river up. Looks like the weather generators are still online. We may have aerosols over here. Let's see if I can get that to load up. Maybe that was yesterday. No, there's aerosols over here around Lebanon, Beirut. So you got man-made clouds all up here. They'll be over Aleppo tomorrow. Cyprus getting waxed. There's some aerosols just north of Tel Aviv. So even Israel is getting some chemtrails. Big spraying over Greece. little spring there in the Ionian Sea. Germany's getting hit. I don't even think they've got to see the sun hardly at all up here in Europe. France bombarded. Remember a couple days ago, they were the most chemtrailed spot on the planet. Can't remember if that was a day or 2 days ago. Could have been 3. I mean, they were just disintegrated with aerosols. Yeah, here it is. So back on the 20th, the biggest sky bombardment on the planet was right here over France. I mean, just thousands of plane tracks in the sky. And then we can watch as the storms progress right to the area that was completely bombarded. The clouds just get pulled to it. And what do? They keep spraying it. And then here we are today. It's just complete whiteout. Wow, look, you can really see the bunker fuel operations. This guy right here is leaving a huge trail of toxic emissions. Looks like he's headed for Iceland, pumping out the bunker fuel. You can see another one right there. And then the big bunker fuel operation right here, going into the storm. Must be pretty important that they're going into the storm. And if I can find the right clip, I'm going to go ahead and play a clip. And I don't know if this is it. That ain't it.
Hello, my name's Al DeChico. I live in Golden Valley. And I understand that this is a federal issue. I understand that from speaking to the governor's office, that they cannot or will not even make a statement.
What is described as the world's largest doomsday shelter is coming to Atchison, Kansas, with room for 5,000 if you're interested.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Above Ground World News. This is weather warfare. So according to the mainstream media, we are getting ready to have a sudden stratospheric warming to likely cause polar vortex disruption. So
into the upper atmosphere, the stratosphere, where they'd reflect away sunlight and cool the planet. And I know for certain that that will work. Not that there aren't side effects, but I know. And there's some bad side effects, like it partially destroys the ozone layer, and I'll get to that in a minute.
You just get on to Mr. Fletcher. Another question
I can't find
in an interview with the Los Angeles Times on April 21st.
All right, I couldn't find the clip. I don't know where the heck it went. So weird. All right. Anyway, guys, we're going to go ahead and call this a show. I want to thank everybody out there that joined us tonight, everybody that shared the stream out. Make sure you subscribe to the backup channels and all that good stuff. And we'll keep on fighting long as we can. But all you got to do is armor up, rise up. You know, don't it say somewhere in the Bible to throw down something and get your swords or something like that? But that's the times we're in. Anyway, guys, much love. Here we go. Let's play a song called Rise.